What's up, Eastern Oregon? This is Dazzy with EOAlive Sports, and this is a special edition of EOAlive Sports. This is all brought to you by Rock & Sons Tire and Auto. Without Rock & Sons, this show doesn't happen. So go down there if you need anything for your car. Go see JB and the boys. This Friday special edition of Eastern Oregon Alive Sports is all about two of my favorite Mounties ever. Both of their careers have kind of come to an end as players per se. It's the Taylor siblings, and Jet and Solo have been pretty important to me. And man, what great careers they've had. Jet started out as a Mountie, played 4 years here volleyball, and then transferred for her COVID season and played her super senior season at Boise State this year, which is her childhood dream. Solo kind of did the opposite. He started out at Boise State and then finished his career as a multiple-time all-conference football player here at EOU. They're two of my favorites, so I decided, hey, why not? Let's get them together and have a little fun and do an interview. Here it is, the Taylor siblings, Jet and Solo. Brother-sister tandem, the pride of Rigby, Idaho. Solo Taylor, Jet Taylor. Man, both your guys' EOU careers have come to an end playing wise. But Jet, do you still have any games left?
No, we just finished this last weekend.
So you're done too.
Yeah.
Completely done.
hmm
Wow. What kind of emotions?
I had so many people asking me that, and the first obvious emotion was that I was sad, just because, it's the end again, and that's something people normally have to experience only once. But also, I feel like it was almost a little bit bittersweet. It was like a good sense of closure for me this time around, and I feel like I got so many of those emotions out, and I knew like what I was walking into from experiencing it last year because last year I didn't think I was going to be playing ever again.
That like childhood dream fulfilled?
Yeah, it really was. Especially being from Idaho, Boise State's like the school, and so having that kind of opportunity was really insane for me. And also one thing that was really cool for me is that Solo also had that experience at Boise State, and when he was like when he was there, I always thought it was like so cool, but I was like, that's not in the reach for me. And then just having like that full circle moment, and I think it's really cool that me and Solo both have the experience of being both a Bronco and a Mountie.
Yeah, it basically flipped, right? He started his career at
hmm
Boise State, finished here, and then you started your career here. You went all 4 years as a Mountie. I mean, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and then you get your COVID
Yeah,
year and you get an opportunity to play at a D1. How awesome is that? So, okay, let's
yeah.
talk to you real quick. Um, uh, Senior day, obviously a little bit of a disappointment when it comes to performance wise, but what were the emotions like there for you?
Yeah, I kind of and I did this on purpose because we had one more after senior day. Senior day was not the end of our season.
Right.
It was the end of, and that was the last game I would ever going to play in community stadium. But I kind of did my best to kind of hold that all inside until the next week. And so emotionally, I was more in mind of let's go try and beat C of I. got one more chance to try and do this. Um, but those emotions didn't really come for me until the next week, and particularly throughout the week. I mean, a lot of it was, shoot, man, this is the last time we're gonna have a Monday meeting. This is the last time we're gonna have. I'm going to be with the guys in the locker room as a player, all that kind of stuff. And this is the last time we're going on one of these miserable bus rides to
Oh, the worst
somewhere,
one too.
yeah, to somewhere 9, 10, 15 hours away. And so that's kind of what I got me the most emotional, I would say. And then before the game, I'll keep what was said there private, but before the game, um on at dinner the night before the game, Coach Camp had an opportunity for all the seniors to go up there, and kind of say their piece. And I think that's where a lot of the guys realized, um, especially the younger guys too. I remember being a younger guy too, and it often doesn't hit you. And it's like, man, this might be the last 24 hours I'm ever around these guys that I've spent the majority of my time since I've gotten to EOU with.
Yeah.
And this class in particular. So when I came here in 2019, this class was the class that had just gotten here. So like Josh Mendoza, Joey Gutierrez, Zach
My
Donato,
class.
guys. Yeah, it's Jets
Yeah,
class.
Jets class. Yeah. Yeah.
All those guys had. I mean, even though I was quite a bit older than them, all of those guys have been here for about as long, or if not about a term longer than me. So it kind of felt like these were my guys too, and being able to go up there and finish it up the right way with them was a pretty special experience. So
I heard about that dinner. I heard some stories about that. The
yeah,
seniors talking at that dinner. I would have gave my left pinky to be at that game at Southern. You should have seen me. I was at the volleyball game. It was the CCC championship that day, and I was up in the booster room and had it on that TV in there, and I was the only one up there watching it for the first like hour. And dude, I was jumping. People were looking at me like I was crazy. That goal line stand, holy crap!
yeah,
I
no,
was just like, oh, thank you.
that was pretty awesome, and we had a rough start to that game too. It was
14-0.
Yeah. One time we were down 14-0, but shoot, man, it's something about first of all Eastern Oregon in the last game of the season, also Eastern Oregon playing down in Ash
On the road at Southern. Yep.
Yeah. We always find a way to pull it out, and I really. Coach Camp mentioned a while ago that this team could have sacked their bats a long time ago, and I think he's absolutely right when he says that we didn't do that. I think our guys prepared for victory every week. So to go down there and stuff started not going our way, and to be able to come back from that, hold on to each other, pull each other the right way, and I mean, really, they went 14-0, and then that was about it for them.
Right.
That was probably the last good thing that happened for them. And yeah, speaking of that goal line stand, actually kind of a cool story. So they got the ball back. We knew we had to get a stop. Defense had to get a stop to win the game. That's how we won it. They had some penalties. They've got some really good wide receivers, made some really good catches. They marched down the field, did their thing, and we're able to get them to fourth down. And it was me and Marco Rubio. We were standing next to each other, and we're both blitzing. And Coach Mills calls a play where me and him kind of run a stunt, and I go off of him. He goes one way, I go the other way, type thing. And we were tired. The other team was tired, and I looked at Mark, and I was like, "Mark, we knew it. It was a cool feeling. It was like our last football play.
Seniors, this is
this is the last football." I looked at him. I said, "This is the last football play we'll ever play." It's kind of cool too. I mean, he's the other oldest guy on the team.
Yeah, he's a grandpa like you.
Yeah, absolutely. But it worked out that we're able to flush the pocket, and it was cool too the way that the team rallied. Everybody got on that guy, got him to the ground, and
that was awesome.
We were able to pull it off. So yeah, it was awesome. Pretty special. I mean, I played football all my life, played for a long time, and I don't know if I could have wrote a better ending than what we got down there.
No, storybooks. It was storybook, dude. It was like it. The crazy thing is I'm pretty emotionally invested in that football team too. So my emotions were just like, I was a wreck, dude.
Yeah,
I really was.
There, you can find videos of us singing the fight song and stuff. I don't think there was a dry eye in the stadium. So
no, there couldn't have been.
There wasn't a dry eye over here either.
No, I don't think
I remember
so, dude.
That was the night of my senior night here, and so my parents split. My mom came here and my dad went there, and like as soon as my game was over, we just went home as soon as we could. Me and Calvin Mitchell, Caitlin McKinley, my mom, we all were watching the game on the TV. And Solo, it's funny that he looked over at Mark and said, "This is my last play," because I got my phone out and I started recording, and I was like, "Mom," and me and my mom were like, "This is his last play," and I like videoed it.
That's so awesome.
And we saw the fight song on the live stream. They left it on, and so we could watch it, and I was crying too.
Well, I mean, what a great ending to awesome career too as a Mountie. I mean, you already know you're my favorite football mounting ever. I mean, that's pretty easy to tell. Jet, let's talk about you.
Okay.
This year, volleyball. First, we'll talk about Boise State, and then I'll ask you a little bit about EOU. Boise State wise, what was that? What's that like? Like swag? Like, tell me about swag first. You get a ton of it.
So I get so many questions about what's it like, how is it different than EOU, and like in both in like I've had EOU is amazing and I have nothing but great things to say about it. Boise State's amazing, I have nothing but things to say about it. Completely different, completely different. And yeah, I remember the day that things became official. There's like a bunch of stuff you have to go through before you get cleared. As soon as I got cleared and things were official, I walked into practice and one of my assistant coach walked in with like this huge box, and she was like, "This will get you started." And it's like 8 practice shirts, like 8 pairs of spandex, a pair of shoes. Ah, my cat. A pair of shoes.
Crazy cat lady.
Like I know, like sweats. There's just so much stuff, and I thought it was so cool. And then like for the next like couple weeks, I'd go in the locker room and it was like, oh my gosh, here's another pair of shoes. Like here's a pair of Kyrie's, but this time instead of gray, they're blue. And
Yeah.
like, oh, here's my 20th pair of socks that I've got for the week. Like, and it's crazy to me because for me, I would walk in and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. But I would like kind of try and maybe hide it a little bit because I could tell like the other girls on the team, like it's just so like
Normal
expected
to
for them that yeah. But for me, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
I can. It's kind of like I interviewed Kylie like after she had been at Utah for a little while, and she had the same thing to say. She was like, "You wouldn't believe all the stuff we get." Like,
Yeah. And like before we go on trips, we have like certain gear that's just travel gear. So before we go on trips, we have like these suitcases that they prepare for us, and like everything's Nike. And so like you go in the locker room and you get your suitcase and it's like already packed with like your jerseys and all the gear that you need.
oh,
And then
that's
you just have
sweet.
to put in like your personal items. And then at the end of the trip, you just take out your personal items and then you give them
And
the
give it
suitcase,
back.
and then it's ready again for the next trip when you need it.
Oh, that's so awesome. What about like so travel wise? Like, talk about that a little bit. Like that's a little more intensive and it's a little bit, it's more to keep up with when you're traveling all over. You guys are flying quite a few times
Yeah.
throughout the year. What was that like?
Yeah, so definitely way more intense travel. I think we only drove to like 1 or 2 games. We drove to Montana for preseason, and then we drove to Utah State. And other than that, our travel normally went like we would leave Wednesday morning around 10 a.m. and then we would get home either Saturday night or Sunday morning, I guess I should say, at like 1 a.m. Or there was a
Wow.
few times where we came home Sunday morning. So you're really gone like the whole week, and you also don't have um, a whole lot of like time to go out and explore. Like we went to Long Beach, we went to San Diego, we went to a lot of cool places, but we never left the hotel. It was literally like a business trip. Like we had an itinerary and we had like certain rules like how we need to act in the airport. And it is crazy because a lot of people do come up and they're like, "Oh, I'm from Boise," or like, "Oh, are you volleyball or basketball?" or asking like who you're playing and all that kind of stuff. But we'd get to the hotel and we either had time where we could like do homework and nap, or we're watching film, we're scouting, we're talking tactics and all that kind of stuff. And then also our pregame is a lot more intense. Like if our game starts at 1, we need to be ready to go. Like our first thing that we do that we start is at 9. So
Oh,
we'll be there
3
at the gym
hours.
around 8 a.m.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
This was the only year that I've ever rooted against my hometown team, San Diego State, ever.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like it was weird because I've always been like one of those. Johnny and I, we had the opportunity to go to Boise and cover. He left, I stayed, and one of my reasons was like, I'm not rooting for Boise State. Like, no way. And then this year I find myself rooting for Boise State volleyball. It's
Oh, I love
crazy.
it. I love it.
What about what do you think about this EOU team this year?
Awesome. I think it's one thing I thought to myself, I wasn't surprised whatsoever with all the success that they've been having. But one thing I thought to myself is Kaki is really good at working with teams in the off season. And I feel like I can speak to that for myself personally because I got so much better between my freshman year and my sophomore year of college, and that was because of the pre or the off season that I had in the spring with Kaki. So Kaki's really good at preparing teams for that, and like you see that those are the girls for the most part that are on the court this year. It's a lot of returners. It's a lot of
Yeah, Cambry leads the nation in blocks. Leads the whole nation. That's all right. We can cut it out. We can cut that part out. Cambry leads the whole nation in blocks. It's crazy. They're super excited.
No, I'm so proud of her. Yes, it's awesome for me too because I feel like so attached to all those girls, and I know like how hard that they've worked for all this, and so I'm just really proud of them, and especially bouncing back COVID 2020 2021, those were like tough years to like those were tough years, and so like I'm just proud of them for how they've responded and yeah.
All right, now we're gonna play a game after this question, but I'm gonna ask you a brutally tough question, and be honest about it.
Okay.
Give up the once in a lifetime opportunity to be D1 or be on this team this year?
You know, I don't have any regrets, and I don't want to live with any regrets.
Good.
I can honestly say that this was one of like the happiest times I've ever had playing volleyball, and I just feel like being off or not thinking that I was ever going to play again gave me just a perspective that I know I wouldn't have had if I never took that time off. Because I remember literally for like our first game of the season, I was like, we put on our stuff, you know, we go out and we have our strength coach warm us up, and then I'm just like warming up my arm with Annie Kaminsky, my partner, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm warming up for a volleyball game right now, and I just felt like I carried that like I just cherished every moment, you know, like I feel like every senior is like, don't take it for granted, you know, all that kind of stuff. And you know that, and you know that they're right, but you don't really fully understand it until you experience it. And like I told a lot of people this, like at nationals last year for EOU in 2021, after my last game, after everything was over, I literally felt like a part of me just like died. Like it was like nobody could ever prepare you for that, really. And so I think I had that perspective, and then I was able to take it into this season and just like cherish everything so much more, and literally live like a childhood dream of mine playing for Boise State, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm so proud of this EOU team, but I have no regrets.
Awesome. So we're gonna play this game. Who out of the two of you is nosier? Who's more sensitive? Who's the better dancer?
How do I point at myself?
You just point right at yourself, like yeah.
Oh, now I know you're pointing at me for the first two.
Who's more intelligent? This is gonna be a tough one.
Oh, easy. Solo, I already know what you're doing.
Who's more talkative? Who's more immature? Who's the bigger sports fan?
Depends on the sport.
Who takes more selfies in a day? Who's the one who jokes around more? Who is more likely to commit a crime? Who's the best dressed? Who swears more? And then finally, who's the better athlete?
Shoot.
We're different athletes.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Now, Jet, I got a question for you. Why did you ever think that you could drink ditch water through grass and it would be filtered?
God! How did you find out about this?
You thought you could filter ditch water with grass?
Okay, so horrible. Like I'm stupid, but that was when like Hunger Games was coming out, and like right around then, I was like pretty young. I don't want to say how old I was in case it's a little too old to be embarrassed. But me and my friend, we were like huge survival mode. Like we had like this shack, and we were like we're fending for ourselves, and yeah, that was pretty dumb. But we were okay. Nothing happened to us.
So you
But
just drink ditch
don't try
water
this
through
at home.
grass?
Yeah, I feel like there's maybe a little more to it, maybe some rocks. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed.
Solo,
Yeah.
tell me about the infamous driveway.
Our driveway,
Yeah.
it's scary.
Whoa, what's scary about it?
All right, I'll tell you a little bit to preface this. When I was a kid, I watched this movie called Signs. It's an alien movie, and they're in the cornfield and all that stuff. And our driveway in Idaho at night, it's not a cornfield, but the woods like that, that's what it feels like. And so when I was a kid, I watched that movie and it traumatized me. So every time I'd walk up and down that driveway, I felt like that there was something out there watching me. So I never walked, I just ran.
Just ran,
Mhm.
booked it. Like that run where you're not looking anywhere. You're just like right here, huh? Like
Yeah.
I just
To be
got
fair,
one
we all
place to
did
be.
that.
Really, it's
All
that
of us
scary
did
in the
that.
driveway.
The other thing that's worth noting is you would never know. There was always a realistic possibility that my dad was actually hiding in the woods with like
Oh,
with a leaf blower or something to try and scare you. So
that doesn't surprise me at all. At
no.
all. Not even a little bit. What happens when thrower body decides to run the 100-meter sprint in track and field?
I almost won.
You almost won, but there's got to be a story about it.
Yeah, there's especially when
I know what you're talking about. I know the story. If you don't remember, I remember, Solo.
so
He remembers.
I was throwing the discus, and also like I ran the 1 and the 2 pretty consistently all the way up until my junior year, and then my senior year I still did it, but I didn't warm up, didn't do anything, and I never took track as seriously as I probably should have. So I went and through, did my thing, came over, and my track coach was like, "You're up for the 1 in right now almost." So I didn't. He's like, "You need to get warm. You need to do all that." And so I kind of goofed around, went over there, looked at the kids, thought I could beat them without warming up. Almost did, except for right around the finish line, my hamstring cramped and I fell on my feet in the middle of the track. It was a yeah. It was a yard sale. I didn't
That
make
was
that.
your senior year?
No, it was my junior year.
Junior year?
Yeah.
There's some funny pictures on our track page from that. We had a lady that would come to like almost all the sports and take pictures. There's some really funny pictures of him. Like,
Rigby has probably the best high school social media I've seen by far. I mean, they do a really good job of promoting their. They repeated as state champs in football this year too, huh?
Yeah, that is their third one in 4 years. They've gone 4 years in a row, won 3.
That's crazy, and that's your hometown, Rigby, Idaho. Couple more questions, and we'll get you out of here. This is for both of you. Is there a physical trait of your sibling that you wish you had?
his height. I wish I was taller.
You're what, 6 foot, 5'11"?
I'm without shoes on, like flat foot. I'm 5'10", but
5'10".
I've always been 6 foot on the roster, that's like I was especially here. I've always been undersized, but especially here, like all my
They
teammates are
pump it
like
up.
6. They're like 6'4". I'm like, I'm a middle.
What about?
I think Jet is a little bit more bendier and flexible, and probably has this is probably because I've played football for so long, but she's probably her joints probably feel a little bit better when she's walking around than I do. So I would
imagine
that out. Yeah.
That's actually a well thought out answer right there, Solo, because that would be really nice to not. I mean, I have a lot of old sports injuries too, football injuries, and I know what it feels like to walk around feeling, that not great all the time. What is a gift that Jet's given you that has always stuck with you? Something that she's given you, that you'll always remember.
You know what? It's actually a pretty recent one. She wrote me a letter for my senior day. That I got in a book, just kind of that letter that she wrote. She'll know what I'm talking about.
What about you, Jet? What's something that Solo's gotten for you that will always stay on your mind? Like you'll always remember it.
I wouldn't say, okay, so mine isn't like a physical gift, but
That's fine.
I will say Solo. I've always looked up to Solo, and all growing up, we were like, I took my sports really seriously. My parents took my sports really seriously, but we were always just like a football family. And I was so invested into watching Solo play, and I really like idolized how much emotion he played with, and how he really went all the way for his team. Like his dedication, his commitment, not only to like the game time and like the shining moments, but like the preparation and the process. And so I just think that him being the competitor that he is inspired me. And I think that it's something that you can see in both of us when we play, is that we play with so much emotion. And it's cool for me because I've always idolized Solo in his endeavors, and he's the reason why I played, wanted to even pursue college sports in the first place. But there's like some full circle moments like this year. There's like some pictures of me after having a block in like my celebration, and then I sent it to Solo, and then like the next week on his senior night he sends me pictures of him, and we're doing the exact same celebration. And so just for me just to like see those kind of things, it just, I don't know, especially because like Solo's been like who I've looked up to, and just to see like how like we've both had this full circle moment, and I feel like now we're both older and we've had like these experiences. I just would say like he's how he's modeled being a competitor to me is like the gift that I'll take with me forever.
I've taken that pose picture of each of you. Like I've actually
Yeah.
taken that picture myself, and that's why you guys are my favorite. I'm like that. Like if you would have saw me play sports, I was one of those people that was always, like preparation, and then when it came go time, it was go time. And that's one of the things that I guess I would say that's why I, became fans of both of you, honestly. Solo, do you have a nickname for Jet? An appropriate one?
Yeah. I sometimes Jet's been called. There's a bunch of easy ones you can do with Jet. Her family's always called her Jetters, just Jetters.
Yeah.
But that sometimes Jean is funny to throw around because that's actually her name. But yeah, both of our names in itself are already kind of nicknames. So
Yeah, right.
yeah.
What about you, Jet? Do you have a nickname outside of Solo Man? The PA announcer was calling Solo Man.
Right.
To be fair, that's how it's spelled, but it's definitely not how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so when I was little, like probably like 2 or 3 years old, I don't know how long this went on, but Solo would, even back then, would make me mad. And I would like, my parents told me I would always go underneath our piano bench and like just yell Solo Stoopy. So that's my nickname for Solo, is Solo Stoopy. And then also I feel like now it's evolved into anytime Solo is bothering me, I'm just like, Solo's stupid. like he's supposed to come over here, and we're gonna drive home for Thanksgiving, and he's like, I'll be there at 2. I'm like, you're gonna be here at 4.
Perfect. Your dad, I've seen your dad call you poop before.
Oh yeah.
That's what I call my youngest daughter. That's her. So
Yeah.
she has 2 nicknames, JoJo and Poop. And so when I saw that I was like, go ahead.
I was like, that nickname has unfortunately made it to social media.
Yeah, it has. I laughed because that's my same nickname for my youngest daughter. Okay, last
Yeah.
question, and then I'm gonna let you guys go and enjoy your Thanksgiving vacation. Solo, what's next?
What's next for me?
Yeah,
I
what are we doing?
I got home Saturday from the football game. Was it 2 weeks ago now or last week, whatever? And I took that Sunday off, and then I hit the ground running Monday. Started coaching for EOU. I'll be coaching linebackers and recruiting the Idaho area. But yeah, I'm still going to be around the game. It's kind of been my dad was a coach. A lot of my biggest role models in my life were all coaches, and honestly, been a dream of mine since I started getting into high school. I realized, yeah, I want to coach, and then when I got to college, I realized I want to coach college football. It just I thought maybe after the season, I was like, maybe I'll feel like taking a break or something for a little bit, but that wasn't the case. Kind of how Jet was saying, as soon as the whistle blew on that final play, or when we finished singing the fight song, it feels like a piece of you is missing. And so, yeah, I'll be chasing that, coaching college football here now.
Nice. Jet, what's next?
All right, so short term, like in the spring, I'm gonna be back working at D1 Training Boise, which is a really cool gym here. Um, and then I'm also gonna be coaching a boys club team, which I'm super excited about. It's like one of the only boys clubs in Idaho that I'm aware of, and Haley Ackerman's boyfriend is like the club director, and so I've been like in contact with him, and he asked me if I wanted to help coach this season, and I'm really excited. I'm excited to see how the game is different with boys, so I'm really excited about that. And then long term, right now I'm working on grad school applications. I'm applying here. I'm applying to Colorado State. If the cards fall right, I would like to go to Colorado State. That's like my number one choice. So maybe moving to Colorado in the summer. But yeah, that's
You,
what's going on for me.
I got you an in at Colorado State. One of my really good friends is the assistant women's basketball coach there. So at least you'll know
Oh,
somebody.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. And my old advisor and professor Kyle Pfaffenbach, he knows some people in the health and human performance department too, which is
Perfect.
good for me too. But yeah,
Maybe coach some D1 volleyball.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I I don't want to be a coach like as a career, but I do want I do want to like in some capacity at least for now be
You could
in with the
GA.
sport.
Yeah, you could GA, do
Yeah,
something, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Eastern Oregon, two of my all-time favorite Mounties, Solo Taylor and Jet Taylor. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Tell your
Thank
parents
you
happy
so much.
Thanksgiving too.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks,
All
Dodds.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything you do to support EOU and all its students. You do as good a job as anybody, so we appreciate it, man.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank
Yep.
you.
I appreciate both of you guys so much, man. What great careers both of you had. What great people both of you are. Best of luck in your future endeavors to both of you guys. You guys are gonna kill it. You guys are both champions of character, champions of personality, and champions of passion. And I appreciate that in both of you. Eastern Oregon, that's all I got for you for this special edition. None of this is possible without Rockin' Sons Tire and Auto. So go see JB and the boys. Go get your tires. It's snow time. Go let them take care of you down there at the east end of Adams. Rockin' Sons Tire and Auto. That's all I got for you on this special edition Friday. I appreciate you. I'm Dodsy, and I'm out.